Now, if I could borrow that for a second. So the first time that I pulled this out, when I had this, which I think was before you and I filmed together. I think I was playing with it before then.
Yeah.
The first time that I was using it and I noticed, hey, when I make a swing motion with it and I hinge the club up during the backswing, there's something in there that makes a noise, right, that goes down the shaft.
Yep.
And then when I come through, there's something in there that makes a noise when I do my release.
Yes.
And so that was the first thing. When I put this in my hands outside, I'm like, what the heck is this thing? I thought, wow, I think that's a really cool audio sensation. A lot of players that I work with are unsure about this hinging and releasing part.
Yep.
Hey, Marty, when should I hinge? How much? When do I release? How much? And I always, Marty, like to give specific checkpoints they can hit on video.
Yep.
But oftentimes they'll say, hey, well, when I'm practicing, right? When I'm practicing,
Yep.
how do I know if I did it? So I'd like to talk through using this, how we can get the club hinged and released.
Okay.
And I'd like to start with, I saw you looked a little different, it was a couple of years ago, in a video talking about how you would define sort of the release of the club.
Yes.
And the angle between the shaft and left.
So, yeah, absolutely. So what is release? Release, in the simplest terms, is letting out of the angle between the lead arm and the shaft into a straight line.
Say that again.
So releasing, what is releasing? It is the wrist angle, or I'm getting the angle between the club and the arm from a loaded position into a straight line. That is it.
So I've got like 4 questions.
I've got 4 answers.
We're gonna line a couple up here. Number 1 would be when the club gets into the straight line,
Yep.
like at what point are we looking for that to happen?
Ideally, when post-impact, first of all, because if it happened before impact, I'm going to hit the ground too soon.
Right.
Okay?
Yep, promise.
So post-impact, roughly about the time the handle gets to waist high. Meaning,
okay.
at impact, it's below waist high because the hands are ahead. The ball is now launched at some point between where the ball is and when the hands get to about waist high, that's when we would want to see a straight line.
Question number 2.
Yes.
Let's say we lined up 100 random golfers.
Yep.
Varying handicap levels.
One will be right there at waist high.
Okay, perfect. So I was going to give some benefit of the doubt and say 98 out of 100 would be sooner than that
Sure.
position.
Yep.
With that said, if I'm the player who's sooner, and so when I'm giving checkpoints, Marty, and just see what you think about this, because I want to know, once the player knows this and is aware of it,
Yep.
I want to talk about how to train it.
Yep.
And then if someone goes too soon, what I like to tell people, I'm less concerned with where it goes on the way back. But
Agreed.
Let's just say it's 90-ish.
There are a lot of ways of taking
A lot of
it
ways to do
back.
it. What I see good players do during their delivery, that we can look at some of these, not even in transition, but by the time I get down into delivery,
Yep.
when the player's hands are roughly in line with the trail thigh,
And the club would be about parallel to the ground. So it's still in the air.
still in the air. And
Yep.
this would be a really good indicator for someone to say, how do I know if I did enough, too much, the perfect amount? We'll talk about here,
Yep.
right? But as a delivery position, if they were to look at their swing, the shaft should still be parallel to the ground by the time their hands are here.
Correct.
The 98 out of 100 would be looking
Correct.
this way.
Or the club would be parallel to the ground, their hands are away from the body.
Yeah,
So
okay.
they've already released, and that's kind of what we see more of.
They're not here.
Right.
So if they go too early,
Yep.
and essentially just to get to perfect, I always say, hey, like you always have to feel the opposite. Meaning if you're throwing too early,
Yep.
you by definition are gonna need to feel like you throw later. Yeah?
Yep.
And so if I pull my impact snap in, and this
Yep.
is to me one of the things like I led with that makes this so unique, is the timing of the unhinging. So this little auditory, I'm kind of
Yep.
answering your question here.
Sliding weight that
yeah.
will go up. Yep.
So this would be set on the way back.
So now bring it to my hand. So it's still loaded.
It's still loaded.
slightly behind your hands coming from the inside.
Yep.
Once your hands pass the ball, let it out.
Let it out. And
So
so,
once your hands pass the ball.
so if I were to do it too early, I
Yeah.
hear the
Yep.
noise going down right
Yep.
off the bat.
Perfect.
Now, and I know what's going to happen is if you're using this at home and you're practicing with it, you're going to need to have a sensation like, oh my gosh, that feels like my hands are way more forward and I'm holding it way longer. And what I'm saying is that's where you need to feel like if you throw too soon. It should not feel like your normal. Your normal is thrown too soon. We want straight release past the ball. When you put this in and get the auditory piece, it's going to need to feel like, I like to think, hey, my hands, even with the golf ball, the thumbs are still up and back towards the shoulder.
Yep.
It's got to feel that loaded to you to get it out in front. That's what's going to look good when they would record themselves.
Right.
So I meant to ask you that, but I answered my own question, which is like, if they're going too early, how do they train that? How do they feel that? I've yet to find a training, and I'm not saying this to blow smoke, that I could get that kind of feedback in terms of my wrist angles.
And as you and I both know from teaching tens of thousands of people,
Yeah.
what's beautiful about this, because people email me all the time, when are you going to have an impact snap club? I'm like, you know what? You want to train independent of hitting a golf ball.
Okay.
Because you want to make sure, can you do the motions correctly?
Like if you can't do it this, you ain't gonna be able to do it that.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And we do have some, I do have some impact snap clubs that I use. And honestly, the feedback is it's hard to think about what your wrists are doing with a golf ball there. And so,
Like when you're first learning,
yeah,
especially.
just from a training standpoint.
Let me hit one with this,
Sure.
Marty. So as I'm gonna hit with this, what I'm getting the same sensations with, and I'm blowing by this too, which maybe it's another video, but like, gosh, I see so many people who don't load it. I agree with you. I think how you load it in the backswing is less relevant, but there can be patterns that can throw people off.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I do like this as well when you go back to have it, to be hearing the noise, somewhere nearish
About
left arm
chest
parallel.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Left arm parallel.
The club, the butt of the club somewhere near the ball target line, just as a reference, that would make your life easier from there. But as I'm feeling this working down, getting the handle at the ball or past the ball before I hear that noise, gosh,
Yeah.
that's such a good feedback. So as I pull my club in, I need to get one of those for me with the head attachment too. I don't have
We
that.
can arrange
I got like 4 of those, but I need to get the head attachment. So when I go back here and I'm feeling the same sensations, keeping in mind that there's a 99% chance that you're someone who throws too early, not too late. Okay, it's a pretty high chance.
1 out of 100.
So now if I feel that same thing, I can feel like I'm gonna get the motion. I feel like my thumbs are still up and back towards my right shoulder as my hands are getting at or past the ball. The club head to me feels, Marty, like it's throwing 4 feet or so past the ball, maybe?
Correct.
4 or 5 feet past the ball. And then I'm gonna deliver that same exact feel here when I'm hitting. And as I'm practicing this, that was solid. That was the best one of the 4 I've hit so far. When I'm practicing this, I'm not going to keep repeating myself, even though maybe we should. Just like there's a 99% chance that a golfer would throw too early, not too late, there's also probably a 99% chance that if you don't do it correctly, you are not exaggerating it enough in the beginning. Like I think for most golfers who throw too early, you probably couldn't throw it too late. Like if you tried, it needs to feel like it's thrown so far past impact.
Right.
You with me on? You agree with that?
Yeah. In golf, the wrist arms combination of how to control the club face, that's 80% of the swing.
It's huge.
The knees, pelvis, chest, well, that's the other 20 that gets the arms and club to go faster,
Yeah.
if that's the desired outcome.
Speed we could tick. Impact snap. We're going to put a link down in the description down below with more info. There'll be a coupon code there. If you're someone who struggles with getting the impact look that you want, if you want more of the shaft lean, right, more of the so-called lag, you don't want to look like that, you do want to look like that on the way through, and you want a way to feel it, right? So like I'm at home practicing and I need a way to know that all this practice that I'm putting in is gonna mean something. It's gonna be springtime soon. I'm gonna be golfing. I'm either gonna keep hitting it like I did last year or my swing motion needs to change to hit it better. They're real solutions to those issues. Highly recommend the Impact Snap. We're going to put the first link in the description down below. Marty, always a pleasure, man.
For Impact Snap, I'm Marty Nowicki. I hope this video helped. Please like this video, share this video, leave your comments down below. That helps us to create more content for you. For Impact Snap, I'm Marty Nowicki. Thanks for watching.